Hello everyone, good to be back. I have today with us a law student. We have with us Nandini Ravishankar. Let's listen to her. Over to you, Nandini.
Very warm greetings to everyone. First of all, good morning to you, sir. It's in the US. It's certainly morning right now. For us, it's a nice evening twilight at 8 p.m. I'm Nandini Ravishankar. I am a third-year law student pursuing my undergraduation from School of Law, Dr. Vishwanath Karad, MIT World Peace University. I am also a civil commercial mediation trainee in ADR ODR International, London area, United Kingdom. And right now also a digital dispute resolution specialization trainee in the same.
Okay. Could you explain some of those terms because everybody may not know what they are?
Sure. So ADR ODR International is a platform which trains students to be civil commercial mediation trainee, and then subsequently they give their exams. And then they go on to venture on to become civil commercial mediators. So with the emerging era of alternative dispute resolution, I guess mediation is also taking a central stage, and thus it's a very good avenue for us undergraduates to pursue the course. Digital dispute resolution specialization is basically a conglomeration of civil commercial mediation, negotiation, arbitration, and online dispute resolution. So it's a good tagline for you to add in your resume, as well as a lifelong experience that you get all along your professional career.
Okay, so tell us more about yourself, how you came to be here, and so on. Let's go.
So to tell more about myself, I'm also a classical dancer. I've pursued bharatnatyam for 10 years. I'm a trained carnatic vocalist and also into Nama Sankirthanam, which is a traditional music where you praise the deities. So this is something about my holistic development, but how I came to be here is...
Just a second, do you have any clips of your performances, videos, short?
Sure, I'll share it with you. I do have.
Okay, so whenever you are ready to share it, we will do share screen, and then we can see whether it works. And then we'd love to see, especially the third one. Say it again. I'm hearing it for the first time.
It's Nama Sankirthanam. It's Nama Sankirthanam is basically you praise the Lord Almighty. I have been giving concerts in the genre of Carnatic music and Nama Sankirthanam since I was 5.
Wow.
And thanks to my grandparents for inculcating the roots in me for the same.
Okay, so at some point we will pause and set it up so that you can show us those videos. But go ahead.
Sure. Law is, it runs in my blood, basically. I can say that. My grandfather, my father, all of them have been acclaimed lawyers. Today, when I look back and see why I took law is because recitation, oratory, elocution is something that has always invigorated an interest in me to public speaking. And I ventured into that since I was 5 again. So I like to put myself there outright in the audience to talk. So apart from that, writing skills is something that I always had. I liked writing. The moment I saw something, I was like, okay,
hang on. Let's admit that you have got many things, but maybe you are not good at mathematics, right?
That's true. That's true. Mathematics is something that I had a very hard. I struck a very hard chord
the impression that you are good at this and good at that, which you are. Well, I'm trying to say, okay, maybe she's not so good at mathematics.
Mathematics never interested me, honestly. But yes, it did interest me at a later part of my life, but not as much as literature did.
Okay. All right, let's continue. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem, sir. No problem at all.
Okay, go ahead.
Reading books is something that I cannot detach my life with, I can say, because it's a very quintessential aspect of my life. Reading has changed me as a person, whether it's legal aspects, whether it's contemporary genre, whether it's any kind of a contemporary style of writing is something I cherish the most. So I think as a lawyer, all of these things have helped me be a better person. So that's all about myself and why I am here.
Okay, so, but tell us, from 11th and 12th, what was going on at that time for you? What were you thinking? Or
That is a stupendous question because for some reason, I'll share this with you. I was traveling for my board examinations. The last exam that I had was social science. And apparently it turns out that I scored the highest in social science and almost not so great in the subject that I first chose to take up. So my father that day told me, we were just having a random conversation. So in order to distract me and help me get a cool breeze of air, he just told me that one day I will get you to NLSIU to pursue your law.
okay,
Law is something that was never in my mind that I would pursue. I always considered myself to be someone who would be pursuing a medicine, becoming a doctor. I mean, just getting into medicine, doing a good crash course for 6 long years, and then becoming a lawyer, doctor. But then somehow it materialized when when I got into my 11th grade. I understood that this is not something I wanted to do, or this is not something that is invoking the interest in me, or I was missing a part of myself whenever I used to sit and attend those classes. And that's when I retuned. I understood that, okay, I have made a wrong decision and I should get into law. And then there was no looking back.
okay. And how easy was it to get into law?
So here's the thing. Shifting, when you shuttle from a profession to profession, this was during the COVID time. It's not that easy because I aspire to be a doctor, not in my later years. In fact, it was my dream since I entered into the secondary section of my school. So when you do that particular transition, there are a lot of questions that are put forth to you, that why this sudden fickle-mindedness? What is, like, you were so passionate about something and now suddenly you're shifting your passion. It apparently puts a question mark in your very dedication towards academics, which you worship as a person. So with all of this, yes, I did cope up. And during those years, I completely dedicate the entire time when I used to shift and shuttle from my profession. The entire thing goes to my grandparents. Because I remember I just told them that this is my decision. I'm going to end pursuing medicine and I'm going to shift to law because I feel law is the better place for me to be in. I don't know. They just said, okay, all right, fine. And then they started doing the household chores. It was as simple as that for them. There was no statement of any judgmental opinion as to why, what, nothing. Because my grandparents always, I feel, they told me, you will do well wherever you go.
Yeah.
And I think even today, after them passing away, that is something that beholds me, aspires me to be great. Greatest version of myself than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
So there was no random questions being put forth and all of that. And I think that made me shift my profession with ease.
Okay. But you have to take a test. This dealing with your grandparents is easy. Dealing with the test.
So here's the thing. My grandfather, since a very, very long time in my life, has sat with me, literally sat with me. And we used to discuss academics, whether it was literature, whether it was science, whether it was math. He was the person behind me and he was the one who says, I have your back and you stride forward. So surviving the test of law. So basically for undergraduation, we have the common law admission test. So I never considered that to be, a factor to pressurize me to prepare from an examination perspective. So all the kinds of books that were prescribed for that particular exam was something that I almost read 5 to 6 times with my grandfather. And it was a very beautiful journey because it was all English, vocabulary, logical reasoning. And that's when I understood, okay, this is literally a better choice for me to make.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what is it about law that gets you? You say, wow, this is the thing about law. What is it? Or 2 or 3 things?
First of all, the day I entered law school, I don't know, I feel very blessed to have beautiful seniors in the form of teachers. In fact, I had one of my seniors who used to teach me law, and he is right now the advocate at Patna High Court. And he introduced me to Justice Krishna Iyer's judgment. So what gets, me really driven by law, not as a bread and butter. I don't see that as a bread and butter. It is something that is, I call it heart, soul, mind, and conscience.
Okay.
So, Justice Krishna Iyer's judgment were at a point of time called as words of pearl wisdom.
Okay.
And even before I entered into law school, I used to read a lot about Fali Nariman, Nani Palkhiwala.
Yeah.
So the way they looked at law, they sharing their courtroom experiences, it kept me going a very great way. So that's what gets, and I miss that particular era. I always tell my senior, I wish I was born in that era. We are always wrong. I mean, born in the wrong era. So,
Yeah, this is true, that you always wish to be young so that you can rediscover what you already know.
very true. Very true.
It's that moment of first discovery that thrills you. And you can't have that because you've already discovered it, right?
Indeed. And another thing to add is I always feel 5 years of law is a very short period of time because
Yeah.
you have so much to explore, so much to learn,
Mm.
so much to read. It's not about rat race or going ahead of someone. It's not even being a better version of yourself. It's just getting to know something new is always out there every day, every single moment.
Mm.
So you venture into a paper presentation, immediately you've got a moot court competition notification. If not moot court competition notification, you've got a certificate course notification. Something or the other is going, and it is so good to see out there on LinkedIn is such a fantastic platform. We see so many people doing so many new things. So I think that's also something that inspires me to keep going.
And what do you see as your own future?
I see myself being there in the court, arguing, as if not as I really can't be as witty as Nani Palkhiwala was.
Yeah.
But I mean, these people are kings. I just don't have their photo there, in front of me. But it's something that I always see myself as a person who can argue well and put myself out there in the court before the judge. I can't sit in the four-walled office and work on something on the laptop. No,
So you think yourself as a litigator?
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, because there's so many lawyers who are not litigators, who are either working in corporations or they become members of parliament or something, or do something else. I mean, but you see yourself as a courtroom litigator.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, okay. Fighter, right?
Yeah.
And fighting for whom?
I won't say, generally the statements that you hear is you have to fight for justice, you have to fight for, women's rights. But somewhere I feel to fight for the right aspect, to fight for what is just. Because what I have learned in these 3 years is, of course, very, very less. But what I've learned is things are not what they generally look like. Because when we deep dive, we often understand that just looking at something on the face of it doesn't help. There is something hiding in. So that's where literature helped me. It helps you analyze reading in between lines. So when we see something, we say, okay, this is something which is for the rights of a particular class in the society. But I don't see it like that. Because somewhere or the other, when you fight for a particular class, it's ultimately going to affect a collective part of the society, given that all of us are stakeholders. So I don't want to miss out on that point when I become a litigator. I have to understand the larger part of the audience that's going to get affected by the end result of the arguments.
Okay. All right. So you're not thinking about being a criminal defendant litigator. You're thinking about bigger things, right? Not, I'm the accused in a murder, I hire you. No, I can't hire you, right?
Not at all. I never said that. I really never said that.
I'm asking.
You can certainly give me a call. But actually, if
when
you
I
see the
commit a
provisions,
murder, they won't arrest me, so I won't give you a call.
no, not really, because in that case, I can't defend you because you won't have the privileged communication aspect. Because Evidence Act says
Yes.
you can't tell a lawyer I'm going to commit a murder and then ask me to
No,
defend
then
you.
you can't. But why should I tell you? I'll do it and never get arrested.
Yeah.
All right, let's stop joking. Tell us something more serious about yourself. Or are you ready to show us some of your performances? Because then I can put you on pause and we can set it up.
Performances, yes, I would reserve it for the later part of the conversation.
Okay, so then go ahead with the
Yeah.
conversation. You take the lead. I'm not going to take the lead.
Sure. So what is serious part of the conversation herein is how essential is reading for a law student. Um, I often see this in law school and even in general in college and the youth of today, is I often tell my parents I find a generation gap with my own generation.
Oh, I see.
It's because today's youth is so much connected with social media, so much bothered about what people think about them, so much bothered about how people perceive the way they have put themselves in the social media, that somewhere we are getting detached from the old school of thought. Now, when I say old school of thought, it's a very simple example. Taking down the notes in the classrooms. I think that's something which is down in vain. I can seldom see people taking down notes. If at all they do take down notes, it's somewhere on the Apple iPad or something. I really want to tell them what is the beauty of taking down the notes on pen and paper. In this Kindle era, the beautiful aroma of the newly bought books. I think all of these things is something which as a law student has also encouraged me a great way. But something not many people would resonate with, but yes, it's very difficult to stride forward. You will be having people who won't trust you in the process. You will be losing out on people because you're focusing on your ambitions. But it's important that you put yourself together in these 5 years and even thereafter and focus on what is more important for you. Because these 5 years are never going to come back. And I feel that I should get back these 5 years again.
All right. All right. What else? Tell us some more. What's on your mind?
Right now, what's in my mind? Right now, I'm reading Psycho-Cybernetics. It's a fantastic book, and it's keeping me busy for the past 2 days. It's a beautiful book that talks about how to stop self-doubting. It's basically a self-help book, which talks about human psychology, why we perceive threats. At times, the imagination creates threats that are not even there in reality. So yeah, that's keeping me busy these days.
No, but in the bigger picture, I mean, I know details, yes, but what's the bigger picture in your mind these days? How do you think about India's judicial system, if at all, or your own views, how you fit in, something that others can then relate to in a more general sense?
When we talk about India's judicial system from a very bigger perspective, I feel right now it is progressing. Because if I see it from a perspective of being a woman, the representation of the number of women in this system, especially in judiciary, is skyrocketing. But one thing that I do miss about the judiciary is this aspect that, and I discussed this with one of my seniors also, the way the language of the judgments is put. If we see, again, I would like to quote Justice Krishna Iyer. So the way the judgments were written, it used to make you feel enthusiastic from within to read what's more. Right? They never used to just stick to the point, but yes, the pointer was mentioned and underscored, but the way it was wheeled in the beauty of language, that is something that I really miss about it. So when I did speak about this to one of my seniors, he just mentioned that, those days were the glorious times when judges had a lot of time. Right now, the judicial system is so overburdened with the pending cases that the focus is more on resolving the issue than on curating ornamental judgments.
Yeah, okay.
But other than that, I do feel the judicial system is doing great, because I always feel that I am a student of the Constitution of India. I have it as a subject. And I do feel that the provisions of the Constitution have been very beautifully ordained and every time reiterated by the court. But with new concepts like judicial activism, judicial overreach, separation of powers, these are the topics that are always in the limelight. So for us to discuss more on that, read more on that, research is something that is invigorating the curiosity always in law students' minds. So judiciary is doing very well with respect to the constitutional aspect of it. But other than that, I do feel that there can be more representation of women as far as women advocates are concerned. A lot can be done for women in terms of seating arrangements, maternity benefits, sanitation facilities in the courtrooms.
You think
So
it's
that's
lacking?
all my perspective.
You think it's lacking?
Somewhere it is. Recently, there was also a notification about a separate room for women in the court. But I don't know how far it is implemented. It may be my ignorance, but I feel a lot can be done. A lot should be done as well.
So why a separate room? What's the logic behind it?
The object behind creating a separate advocates room for women is basically the fact that at times there are women who are in the family way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it also promotes better ventilation.
Okay.
So keeping all of, and at times even crèche facilities is something that was a question put forth, and there was a conundrum that was looming large very lately. So these are the probable substantiating reasons as to why we need a separate room for women in the court.
Okay. All right. And any other thoughts that you have?
Right now, I do feel that we need to be more considerate about the roots while we talk about law as well. We need to somewhere draw a distinction between what is absolutely Western versus what our roots say. Right now, I just pursued a diploma from Gujarat National Law University, which is called Diploma in Ancient Indian Legal Theories and Philosophy. And I give a greater part of the credit to that particular course for introducing me. So when I study jurisprudence as a subject in law school, I get to know a lot about what Salmond has said, what Austin has said, or what Blackstone has said. But if we actually talk about all of this and see it from a larger picture, we understand that nothing is absent in the Indian scriptures. So like we talk about Hiranyagarbha, right? It talks about a very small aspect, giving a larger picture of the reality of what the world is. It's very correlated to what even Vivekananda spoke about, knowing your inner self, which is the Brahman. So I thank this particular diploma, and there are several such diplomas curated for law students, to say that whatever is there in the jurisprudence that we study as a subject has an Indian element to it already. And somewhere it's not Greece that's the cradle of civilization. It's ultimately India that's the cradle of civilization for all of these jurisprudential aspects. Okay.
All right. So you think that the curriculum should actually reflect that more?
Indeed. I don't mind the current curriculum, but yes, I do feel there should be a conglomeration with these, because I can't find anywhere in the jurisprudence, anywhere talking about Brihaspati or Prajapati Parmeshthin or Hiranyagarbha. So if you're already mentioning about Western philosophers and jurists, why not also conglomerate that with the Indian aspect of it? So yes, the curriculum shouldn't change, but it should definitely be revamped. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So You're halfway through your law degree now, I take it, right?
Indeed. Yeah.
Indeed. Okay. So any tips you have for younger people?
There are many.
Good.
Thank you for asking that question. So this is not something that I would give as a gospel truth, like 10 commandments, you have to follow this. It's something that I'm saying out of my experience, that it may be considered to be very superficial in nature, but in law school and in general, be mindful of the company. It's very important to be mindful of the people we are surrounded by. Why I'm saying this is, if a person is ambitious and has ambitious people around the person, I think it's going to be a propelling force for the person to achieve more. So I'll just give an example. As I mentioned, I just went to GNLU for the in-person visit during my diploma course. The entire environment was so academically, I can say, drenched. The moment I entered the library and got out, I could see one student talking to the other. Hey, I'm doing mediation. What are you doing this semester? The other person was like, I'm going for a moot. So constantly there is some academically oriented activity going on. So surrounding yourself with people like that would definitely be an impetus for you to achieve better. So yes, be mindful of the company. Second, we enter the law school at a particular age, where we are very curious to explore a lot of things. So we have to properly differentiate between what is a distraction and what is going to help us achieve our goals. So yes, I always believe casualness leads to casualty. So never be casual. I have another tip, very important tip that I had in mind for this interview in specific is, I often listen to even my friends saying that, I have already got a job. Why should I attend college? I mean, my goal is achieved. I'm just going to work and I'm going to bunk classes. I beseech the students to not do it. Because academics is indispensable part, especially if you're going to be a litigator. Because whenever you read a Bare Act, say you read Evidence Act and you read it 5 times, 6 times, every time you read it, there is a new thing that you come across. There is a new interpretation you come across, and it indeed increases your creativity by metes and bounds.
Mhm.
And you start falling in love with the process. You start falling in love with the subject. So why restrict yourself while you can unravel something new? So don't see job as a goal, because I feel is a problem, because today the education system is making people ready for a job. Academics like law cannot be purpose oriented. I really feel that you have to be enjoying the process all along. And it's a testament that difficult roads are, they often lead to beautiful destinations. I believe in that. And law is going to be a difficult, tumultuous road, but it will definitely lead you to a beautiful destination.
Okay, wonderful. Shall we pause now and see if you can show us some of your videos?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's pause. Okay, Nandini is all set to show us her video. Nandini, please go ahead, explain to us what you're going to show us and then show us.
Okay, so sir, this is called as Nama Sankirtanam, Sampradaya Nama Sankirtanam, basically. As I mentioned, we praise the Almighty, and this particular Kirtanam that I'm singing right here is on Guru. It's set in Ragam Bihag. It's a very beautiful Kriti. I'll just play a small snippet for you out of it. Yeah, and here you go. Yasya smarana matrena nama bhakti prajayate yasya smarana matrena nama nama bhakti prajayate Jagadagurum Bodhendram Jagadinishtaya Jitavaranendram Jagadinishtaya Jitavaranendram
Wow, it's very exciting and very good. I'm so happy that you have shown us this. It's really something, quite admirable to be so good at classical music and to do it with so much gusto. So congratulations, well done. I must say, I'm not quite
Thank you.
capable of understanding it, but I'm glad that it's going on with you. Do you have the time to keep up with it, or it's getting harder?
To be honest, no. But I'm very blessed to have gurus who keep, they remind me of the fact that I should get back to singing.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to add here?
That pursuing law does come with a lot of sacrifice. Like you can't have the cake and eat it too. So yes, while I'm very, very happy with what I'm pursuing, I also miss a lot on pursuing my hobbies, pursuing my interests, because I just remember my mom telling me 2 weeks back that while I was very young, she always expected me to be good at fine arts, dancing, singing, because I was also a kind of kid who used to just come home, throw the bag callously and just go down to play. But then suddenly my inclination towards academics had a very tangential turn. But yes, I do hope that I would get back to music. And thank you to my seniors also who keep telling that I shouldn't leave that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. If there's nothing else you want to add here, then we can end this here today. But if you have something, let's go ahead.
I think, sir, I have covered fairly a good bit of what I wanted to express.
Okay.
But yes, I would mention, long story short, that these glorious 5 years that students will be getting, I mean, I wish the best for all the students who will be joining the career of law or who are in the penultimate or the ultimate year of their law school journey. One aspect is we will always be law students throughout our lives, even after we graduate. So this is something that we need to reckon, hammer, and remind ourselves. Then it's going to be a very good journey for us through this profession that always has something in its coffers to teach us.
Okay. Well, that's a great message. I'm glad you have delivered it. So let's say bye to the viewers. I'll be back with another young person or an expert soon. Bye till then. Bye, everybody.